Up here on Yahoo, as we close out 2010, we look ahead to 2011, and our boxing expert, Kevin Iole, is here with us, and we want to look ahead to next year, and what we hope is going to be a big year of fights and great matchmaking. What do you think is going to work out next year in terms of the atmosphere for matchmaking? I think we're actually on the edge of something pretty good, unless a Golden Boy top-ranked Cold War ruins things. Could that happen?
Yeah, I mean, of course it can happen. I mean, it ruined a lot of stuff in 2010, and of course, I think, Steve, it'll, have its impact in 2011. But I think one of the good things is that there's enough good fights that can be made independent of each other. That I think we can see a lot of really good fights made without having the top-ranked Golden Boy situation. In other words, a lot of people want to see Victor Ortiz, a Golden Boy fighter, fight Brandon Rios, his former training partner, who's now a top-ranked fighter. Probably not going to see that. So, as a result, okay, there are other good fights that can be made. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of fights that we're going to, at the end of 2011, say, I wish that was made. That weren't made because of the feud. There might be other reasons, but I think most of the fights we want to see, and most of the fights that maybe are on my list, I think we will see in 2011.
Well, and the good news is two of the fights that you want to see, that I want to see, have already been made, so we don't have to worry about any kind of snafu there. The first one is in January, interesting setting with the Silver Dome, with Alexander going against Bradley, and then in February we get a good fight down at 118 pounds between Donaire and Montiel, right?
Yeah, Donaire and Montiel. I think that's going to be a fabulous fight. I mean, right going into the year, that's probably my front runner for 2011 Fighter of the Year. We're just picking the 2010 award, but that fight could be Fight of the Year for 2011, no doubt about it. I mean, really a good style matchup, two guys that are, I have Donaire in my top 10, Montiel just outside of my top 10. A lot of people have both of those guys in. That is going to be a fantastic fight. February 19th in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. Should be a terrific fight. That is one I think, if you haven't seen these two guys fight, do yourself a favor and tune into HBO on that date, because that's going to be a sensational fight card.
And Bradley and Alexander?
Yeah, Bradley-Alexander was a fight that, really wanted to see in 2010. It was one that was very difficult to get made, but finally we got it. And there's a lot of significance to that fight. I think the 140-pound class, as we saw just a couple of weeks ago, Steve, really a tremendous class. The Khan Maidana fight, was outstanding. We saw a couple of weeks ago Zab Judah beat Lucas Matisse in a really good fight. There's a lot of good guys in the 140-pound weight class. Victor Ortiz is another one. I mean, a lot of guys that make some good fights in that weight class. Bradley and Alexander, to my mind, are on the top of the list. I'm a little bit higher on Tim Bradley than everybody else seems to be. I've got Bradley up in my top 5. I think he's a terrific athlete, a terrific boxer. He lacks maybe that, one-punch knockout power, but, he is a really good fighter. And Devin Alexander, I mean, what can you say about him? I mean, this guy is the complete deal, top to bottom, and I think Devin Alexander only gets better. That is a huge fight, and it has added significance because I think the winner of that fight is the most likely fall opponent for Manny Pacquiao, assuming Pacquiao beats Shane Mosley in May. Bradley Alexander winner go up to welterweight to fight Pacquiao in the fall. I think that's a very big possibility. If Mosley would happen to upset Manny, I think at that point the Bradley Alexander winner is the clear top choice at 140, and then he's in the mix with some of those other great 140s like Amir Khan. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can spin off that Bradley-Alexander fight.
I put Bradley on a list of 5 fights I'd rather see instead of Mosley and Pacquiao. Pacquiao against these guys. 2 of the other guys, you just mentioned one of them is Khan, and the other one is Berto. Where do they fall in this mix, and could they fight each other?
Well, I would like to see them fight each other. Right now, there's not talk that they're going to do that, but Amir Khan has said he's going to move up to 147. There's been speculation that he's going to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr., although that's going to mean Floyd Mayweather's going to have to decide he's going to fight, and right now, we're not seeing any indication of that. He's got some legal situations to take care of. So for the moment, I'm going to assume that Floyd is not in the mix. Obviously, the fight everybody wants to see, Mayweather-Pacquiao, let's assume that fight's off. Let's assume all fights with Floyd Mayweather are off until we have evidence otherwise. Hey, Andre Berto's sitting there. Andre Berto's an undefeated world champion with a lot of potential, a lot of talent. Makes sense, 2 young rising stars who need that signature win. Why not do it against each other? I think it would be a heck of a fight.
I think the hottest fighter going into 2011 that we want to see more from is Sergio Martinez. But opponents are not that easy to find at 154 pounds. Some guys are too small. He's a little too small to go up and, call out guys who are 168.
Isn't it amazing that you said 154 when Sergio Martinez is the 160-pound champion? I mean, it just shows you there's just not that many great options out there. There was a talk of a fight that looked like for a while it was going to happen. Ludabella and Bob Arum were negotiating Miguel Cotto against Sergio Martinez for a 54-pound title. I think it would have been a heck of a fight. I would have definitely favored Sergio Martinez to win that fight. It would have been a heck of a fight. Unfortunately, this is one where Bob Arum and Ludabella could not come to terms. I'm hoping that they do. We're going to see both of them probably fight on March 12th, the way it's looking right now. HBO is trying to put on Martinez on that date. Sergey Dzernik, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name. I don't see a big call for that fight. I don't understand why anybody wants to see that fight. He is not a come-ahead fighter. He's a runner fighting against Sergio Martinez, and then that's going to go up against Cotto on a top-ranked pay-per-view card, or maybe on Showtime, but more likely a top-ranked pay-per-view card. Cotto fighting one of three potential opponents. Why not put them together? Let's see them together. But even if their next fight isn't against each other, hopefully down the road they're going to do business. Arum's talking about doing Cotto on March 12th and then fighting in June against Antonio Margarito. I hope he saves room on Miguel's dance card for a fight against Sergio Martinez, because that would be a fireworks fight.
Now, another fighter who's on fire and building momentum is Lucien Bute, who is selling tickets like hotcakes in Canada, or should I say poutine. And he has a chance, if I guess it's going to have to be later in the year, though, because Andre Ward would be the guy you'd maybe call Frotch, but if it's Andre Ward who comes out of the Super 6, I guess that fight could be made, so I would assume it's in Canada, right, later in 2011?
Well, let's see if Dan Goosen and Andre Ward would go to Canada. First, as you say, Andre Ward's got to take care of business. He's got to win 2 more fights and get in and win the Super 6. I picked him in July of 2009 to win the Super 6. I see nothing that changes my mind right now. I think he wins those 2 fights and goes on and fights in Lucien Bute after it's over. That's the fight I really want to see. I think it'll be a huge fight in Canada. I think it'll be a huge fight in the U.S. Andre Ward is one of those rare U.S. Olympic gold medalists who isn't a big name in professional boxing yet. Not a lot of the casual fans know who he is. It's because he's had so many fits and starts in his career, so many injuries, and he's been out. He won the gold medal in 2004, and he's only now really coming into his own. He is a guy, I think, that when Pacquiao and Mayweather are done, might be the heir apparent to the #1 pound for pound. I think he's a marvelously talented fighter, and I think after winning the Super 6, fighting Lucien Bute could be that vehicle for him to become the top dog. That would be later, obviously, in 2011, and I think that would be the time for Andre Ward to establish himself. Okay, now it's Andre Ward time. I'm the #1 fighter in the world.
And I think the fight that you're looking forward to the most, and I'm looking forward to this potentially as well, because Juan Manuel Lopez closed out the year in great fashion. He looked dynamite, and he's an action fighter, and he could be matched up against a guy who has huge power and just comes straight at you.
If you ever saw Yorkis Gamboa fight, you're seeing the best combination of speed and power that's out there. I mean, incredible. Gamboa's got a lot of flaws in his game. I mean, certainly defensively, he can be hit. But if you like guys that are like Rock'em Sock'em Robot Steve, it's incredible. You're going to see Gamboa and Lopez get in front of each other and just fly. And this fight, I'm going to say this is going to remind me of 2 fights that I saw that are on my list of all-time greats. Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo, and believe it or not, Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns. I think it's that kind of fight. It is an absolute can't-miss war. I mean, we got to get that fight made. In January of 2010, we thought that, okay, Lopez and Gamboa fought on the same card. They were going to fight each other next. Now here we are on the verge of January 2011, and we're still waiting to see that.
All right, and for you guys who are watching the video, feel free. You name the fights you want to see in 2011. And I have a feeling, Kevin, that we're not going to get a lot of heavyweight suggestions, which, no, I actually, and we laugh at it. I mean, I think Hay and Klitschko, or either one of the Klitschkos, is the fight we want to see. But it's not atop the list. And I think that's actually good for boxing, because people are starting to get it. Our hardcore and casual fans who read your stuff and the boxing blog kind of get it now that, really the great fights are at the lower weights, and there's not enough heavyweights right now.
I mean, Showtime did a good thing by putting up that bantamweight tournament that they have started on December 4th. It's going to conclude in February. That's a great move because it's showing the talent. One of the reasons, I didn't pick Fernando Montiel for my 2010 Fighter of the Year is I looked, he was 4-0, all by knockout, all before the fourth round. But when you look at the great fighters that he didn't fight and say, hey, there was some unfinished business out there. Hopefully he gets to that in 2011. And you're right. I think that there are so many good fighters and so many lighter weight classes. Let's showcase them. Let's watch those great talents at 118, 126, 140, 147. These are the guys that really give you the show. And that's why, I think people who are boxing fans want to know these guys, and they want to see the guys that actually come in the ring and fight.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for checking out the stuff in 2010, and we'll see you in 2011. And Kevin and I will be busy. I can guarantee you that.
No doubt. I'm looking forward to it. Love my job.